What's the market going to look like for the end of 2025? Today we'll take a look. I'm Adrienne, longtime Florida realtor, and I'm here to help you get your Florida life. Hey everyone, if you're new here, new videos come out every Wednesday. You can subscribe to follow along. At the end of the month, which we are at now, I always do a market update. If you want some more numbers than you will see here, you can sign up for my newsletter. I put them in the newsletter. I also have a bunch of things to do coming up in the next month in the newsletter, so subscribe to that. You can find that in the comments or the description below. Today, we are going to look at the end of the year. Now, I've been a realtor a long time, and typically people divide up the year into seasons, or if you're a business person, into quarters, and we do that too. But if you've been selling real estate in this market for a long time, the year sort of divides itself up into three segments. This is something I made up. You can't really find the statistics on it, but I bet if you ask another realtor friend, they will know exactly what I am talking about. We have, in the beginning of the year, season, which is January through May. That's our busiest time. Then we have summer, which is June through August. Now that time is often, sometimes when you look at the closed sales, it's very good. It sometimes can even rival season. Some of my best months, which we'll talk about in a second, have been during summer because you get fewer tire kickers. If people come down in the summer to buy property, they are usually pretty interested. And then you get what's called the end of the year. All of this again in my head. The end of the year, September through December. It is fall for a lot of people. I think fall starts in September in you northern people's world. I don't really know. Anyway, so fall is September through, or our end of the year is September through December. One thing I want you to know about the end of the year before we really get into it is often I hear people say that they think that the market picks up at that time. Actually, and we are going to look at the numbers, it is the slowest time of year for us. It does get cool up north, but people are thinking about the holidays. They're thinking about whatever they're thinking about for the end of the year, and we really don't pick up until sometimes the second week of January. Sometimes I've had years where I think, wow, this January is a bust. And then the third week or fourth week of January, it really starts to pick up. So you never quite know when these time periods start or end. But I do know that September through December is typically the slowest segment of the year. And we can look at that by looking at new pending sales. When we look at new pending sales, quarter four, which is really October through December, but you can see we hit the fewest things going under contract in the last section of the year, where it is cold up north, but it's just not the time to buy property for a lot of people. I think another reason people get confused by this is that if you ask a realtor friend, sometimes we start getting busy this time of year with prepping listings. I'm going to talk about buyers and sellers in a moment very specifically, but I'll just tell you in my own life, everybody knows realtors get asked all the time, how's the market? How's the market? Everybody I see, everybody I know asks me all the time. Sometimes they say to me, how's business? How's business is a different question than how's the market. Now, I will translate in my head who's asking me. Is it a close friend? Is it a family member? Do they really want to know how my business is going? Or do they want to know how the market is going? My business is actually having a good year, if you really want to know, but the market has not been having the greatest year. So these things don't always blend together. And this is true September through December for a lot of agents. These people start calling us and saying, I want to put my home in the market in season. I want to start thinking about it. And they want us to, it makes us very busy, but it doesn't mean that things are going under contract quite at the rate. It's not quite what you're asking always. Now, before we get further into the market, now some of you were around last year when we got Goose, our kitten. He is still around. He has gotten much bigger, but I'm going to introduce you. We got a new kitten named Maverick, and I'm going to introduce you because he is going to crawl up here. He is dying to be introduced. It's actually a she, but whatever. So this is Maverick. She's going to wander through occasionally until she gets bigger and lazier like her brother. I just wanted to get that out of the way because she's driving me nuts behind your backs. Okay, so the end of the year. Let's talk about it. The biggest hubbub out there in the nation is mortgage rates. We are seeing a slight drop in mortgage rates, and a lot of news, a lot of indicators say that this is going to continue. I do believe it will continue quite a bit. However, I feel like we've all been saying that so long, it feels uncomfortable to say yet again, oh, mortgage rates will drop. It's March, it's September, it's now. But there are indicators, and I talk to my lenders all the time. What do you think? What do you think? And a lot of people believe we will see a drop. It's all about how much of a drop. I've talked about this before as far as the response I typically get. Well, don't we have a lot of cash buyers? Yes, we have a lot of cash buyers here, but most cash buyers are selling a house to have the cash, or they don't want every bit of their cash tied up in real estate in a market where they don't feel like they can sell. This is a big problem in our market in general. It's not talked about as much, but there are people who out there who really want to buy real estate at this point, but can't because they want to sell their house first, whether they need to sell the house or they just want to sell the house. The same thing happened in the pandemic. When we hit these highs and lows in the market, this gridlock sort of happens. In the pandemic, there were people who wanted to sell. They wanted to change up their life, but they were afraid if they sell their house, they wouldn't have a place to buy. Now we're seeing the same thing where they just can't. They want to buy, but they can't sell their house. So what we are hoping for is the mortgage rates will help loosen up some of this gridlock and create even more buyers, some of whom aren't as worried about the mortgage rates, but are worried about, having liquid cash, or at least the ability to get it, some confidence. Our market is built a lot on consumer confidence, especially when you get into the retirement areas, second home markets, the waterfront. That's a lot of consumer confidence. When the mortgage rates drop, even if the person buying is a cash buyer, they want to have that confidence in our market. The big thing that everybody is worried about this time of year, of course, is hurricanes. I would say if we don't have a hurricane by mid-October, which typically hurricane season is really June 30th or June 1st. I don't even know when it starts in June off the top of my head, and it ends November 30th. But the prime season for hurricanes is September through mid-October. If we don't have a hurricane in that time and the mortgage rates drop, we could see a change in our market even at the end of the year because of pent-up demand. But I want to be clear, I don't think it's going to be this crazy change like we saw in COVID. It's going to be a slower drip change. And this is where I want to talk to buyers for a minute. And if you're a seller, you really need to listen to what buyers are thinking right now, because we are in a buyer's market. They have the power. Even if you think, oh, I have the greatest house, I know it's going to sell. It might. A lot of houses are selling. Don't get me wrong. Houses sell every day in this market. Things go pending all the time. Condos go pending all the time. There's enough negativity out there. But you do need to this is the type of market where you need to understand the buyer. I'm going to talk to you buyers right now. If we see a pickup in the market, even a slight one, that means we are at bottom now. Now, we might sit at bottom for a couple of months, but if you are that person who's going, I'm trying to time it, I'm trying to get as close to the bottom, there are a lot of indicators saying that we are very close to that. Especially, again, if we don't have a hurricane and mortgage rates drop. Even if you look historically, 2008 hit the bottom. We really went, and then we had 3 years of really roughness where it went down. 2008, it started to drop, and then 2011 was the bottom. The pandemic, 2020 through 2022. Now we start to go down in 2022. We are in 2025. These things only last so long, and it has been going on for a couple of years now. Now, it's not a perfect science where we say, oh, it's 3 years and 4 days, but there are indicators that we could be getting towards the end of it. We still have a lot on the market, Therefore, I think it's going to take a while for prices to change. However, I have been working with buyers for a very long time. And one thing I see is it is often not a quick purchase. It is not like buying gum at the checkout line. So if you're thinking, well, I'd like to get near the bottom, I'm gonna, when should we start getting ready? Start getting ready now. If the hurricane hits, if mortgage rates don't drop, you might have more time. But if we have a good year weather-wise and the mortgage rates drop, and then you start getting ready, you start getting your finances together, you start really thinking about it, you could miss that bottom by a lot, the longer it takes you. One of the biggest things I'm seeing in the market right now is buyers know they have the power and they are squandering it. Not all buyers, but I do see this, and I'm not picking on you buyers because I love you, but one thing I'm seeing, I'll give you an example. I called an agent the other day for feedback on a listing of mine they had shown, and they said to me, Adrienne, I have shown these buyers over 50 houses. And that kind of indecisiveness I'm seeing a lot of. If you are really looking out there and you're seeing over 50 houses, at a certain point, it's not the houses. At a certain point, your expectations are not matching what we just have in our market. And this could go on forever. And I say this as somebody who has lived through it with people. In 2019, I had people who I'd been working with who come down every 6 months for years. Oh, well, it's not quite right. And then 2020 hit and I never saw them again because they got priced out of the market. I don't think it's going to hit like 2020 because we don't have a pandemic. I think it's going to be a slower movement situation, but we do have a lot of pent-up buyer demand and we have a lot of pent-up people who want to sell their house to buy. And if they get flooded into the market and you are in this pattern of not making decisions, it's going to be difficult for you. I'm saying this with love because I've seen it with so many people before. The other thing I'm seeing is people putting in such low ball offers. I would say a lot of times there's a lot of negotiating power in the market. Definitely you want to offer, depending on the house. If somebody has dropped their price though, so much that they're so under the market, those things are selling quickly. These things are selling, and if you're just going, I'm seeing offers or people trying offers at prices that I haven't even seen the land the house is sitting on sell for that in years, like 10 years. You got to shoot your shot. But if you are playing this game, eventually you are going to play it too long and miss all of this. So I'm cautioning buyers against that. At a certain point, you have to make a decision and work within the market. Now, I'm always cautious. One of the things I think more agents don't do video, I think that we all hold ourselves back a little bit because I don't want this to look like specific advice. I don't know what house you're looking at. I don't know what condo you're looking at. Maybe they should get a very, very low ball offer. Maybe that's what's appropriate for that house. I don't know. I'm just telling you that if you're shooting all these shots or if you're seeing 60 houses and none of them are good enough or making it, know that you're holding yourself back. That's what I will say. You may be holding yourself back. Now let's talk to sellers. Sellers first, if you look at new listings here, Q1, January, that's where we see the most listings hit the market. It might be interesting for you if you can get your house ready, if the mortgage rates drop for October, because we may see buyers who are going, hey, I better get in on this quick, come in earlier. Now, everybody wants all the buyers, but look at the new listings in January. A lot of times you have the most competition, and you already have a lot of competition on the market. A lot of the buyers now have looked at everything. They're going, are there more new listings coming? Even though there's a lot on the market, they're hoping more new stuff comes out. You could be that as the mortgage rates drop. if you can get your house ready. And sellers are the same. I talk to sellers all the time. We want to sell. We need to do 4 things before we sell. We want to paint this room. We want to clean up this room. We got to clean out these boxes and whatever else. And it should take a weekend or it should take 2 weeks. And, you know, it comes around to January. Oh, we're not quite ready. We forgot to call the guy. Comes to February and I've had sellers just miss season in general in any year because they don't get all these little things together. If you need help with that, call me now. I have handymen that I can help you with. I have people who will help you get your house ready so you are ready if the market starts to take off again. That now is the time to really, really start that. At the same time, I don't want to pretend to you that the prices are going to shoot up, because if we look at the months of inventory, we still have a lot of inventory. We have way more inventory than buyers. Hopefully we'll see some buyers start picking this stuff up, but it's going to take a while. Even if the market were to take off like it did in COVID, it would take a little while for prices to go up. I think it will balance out first. That is typically what happens. And then we will see maybe prices go up. I would say that's a year or 2 away. I think that we have to get rid of some of this inventory. We have to change the mindset of buyers. That takes a while. We just really have to, there's a lot that has to happen before prices change. So if you really need to make much more money, you might have to wait a year or 2. However, you want to put in there, you want to think about your carrying costs as well, because if you're going to wait 2 years to make $10,000 more or $15,000 more, let's look at your insurance. Let's look at your taxes. 2 years, let's look at your stress level. Is that going to be worth it? Now, obviously anything could happen. The market could shoot up. That's what sellers are always hoping for. But I do not feel like we are poised for this incredible change in the market quite yet. But we may see it balance out. We may see some good things for you sellers. So if you have been waiting for that, you might start looking around. You might give me a call. I am happy to go through your house and say, hey, these are the things I would do. These are the things I would not do. A lot of times I am telling people not to do things because people want to do more than they really should. And that's another thing that happens. They say, oh, we should do this, this, and this. It takes so long, especially with the market, the price is going down. You don't want to wait too long to sell it, or you don't want to put so much in, take this time putting so much in, and then you're missing out. If you want more numbers, like I said, you can sign up for my newsletter. I will keep you updated on how the market goes till the end of the year. Thank you for watching. I will see you next week.